The text came through at 2:47 a.m. I wasn't supposed to see it. My wife's phone was charging on the nightstand, face up, and the notification lit up the dark bedroom like a searchlight. Did you tell him yet? Or are we still pretending? The sender? Jessica. My wife's best friend since college. The woman who'd been at our wedding. Who came to our house for dinners. Who I'd trusted completely. I sat up slowly, careful not to wake Sarah beside me. My heart was doing something strange, not racing exactly, but beating too hard, like it was trying to break through my ribs. I picked up the phone. No password, she'd never hidden anything from me before. Why would she? I opened the thread. What I found didn't destroy my marriage in one moment. It destroyed it in about 40 messages, spread over 3 weeks, each one a small detonation that built into something catastrophic. But here's what nobody tells you about discovering your wife is cheating. The betrayal isn't the worst part. The worst part is realizing that the person who encouraged it, who orchestrated it, who made it seem acceptable, was someone you also trusted. Jessica hadn't just known about the affair. She'd engineered it. And by the time I finished reading, I knew exactly how I was going to make both of them pay. My name is Ryan, and I need you to understand something before we go further. My marriage was good. Not perfect. Nobody's is. But good. Real. The kind where you still laugh at each other's jokes after 8 years. Where you know how the other person takes their coffee. Where intimacy isn't performative, it just is. Sarah and I met in graduate school. She was getting her MBA. I was finishing my engineering degree. We were both ambitious, both driven, both building toward something. We got married at 27. Bought a house at 29. We talked about kids but agreed to wait until our careers were stable. We traveled when we could. We hosted dinner parties. We had a life. Sarah worked in marketing for a mid-sized firm. Good job, good salary, room for growth. I was a project manager at a tech company, not glamorous, but solid income and benefits. We weren't rich. We weren't struggling. We were comfortable, and we built that comfort together. Jessica had been Sarah's roommate in college. They'd stayed close, weekly lunches, constant texting, girls' nights that I never questioned. Jessica was married too, to a guy named Brad. Investment banker, made serious money. They had the big house, the luxury cars, the country club membership. Jessica was always pushing Sarah to think bigger. To want more. To not settle for comfortable when you could have extraordinary. I'd noticed it but never thought much of it. Friends encourage each other. That's normal. What I didn't know was that Jessica's definition of extraordinary included sleeping with other people while staying married for financial convenience. It started 6 months before the 2:47 a.m. text. Sarah and I were having dinner, normal Tuesday night, nothing special, when she brought up something that seemed to come out of nowhere. Ryan, what do you think about open marriages? I looked up from my pasta. What? Open marriages. Jessica was telling me about this couple she knows who have one. They've been married for 10 years and they're really happy. Okay. Good for them, I guess. Would you ever consider it? The question hung there. I tried to read her face, but she was looking at her wine glass, not at me. No, I said carefully. I wouldn't. Is this something you want? I'm just asking hypothetically. Sarah, we don't do hypotheticals about our marriage. If you're asking, there's a reason. She looked up then. I'm not saying I want it. Jessica just brought it up and it made me think. About whether monogamy is really natural. Whether we're limiting ourselves by traditional expectations. Did Jessica tell you monogamy isn't natural? She's just more progressive about relationships than most people. Progressive. That was the word she used. I should have paid more attention to that conversation. Should have asked more questions. Should have understood that it wasn't a philosophical discussion. It was a test. But I didn't. I just said I wasn't interested in opening our marriage, and Sarah dropped it. For about 2 weeks. Looking back, I can see how calculated it was. Sarah started making small comments. Little observations that seemed innocent, but were actually building toward something. Jessica says the key to a long marriage is maintaining independence. Did you know that couples in open relationships report higher satisfaction rates? Jessica and Brad have such a modern approach to their marriage. They really trust each other. Every conversation circled back to Jessica. Jessica's wisdom. Jessica's progressive views. Jessica's perfect marriage. I started noticing other things too. Sarah was dressing differently. Not for me, for going out with Jessica. Tighter clothes, more makeup, heels when they were just getting drinks. She was on her phone constantly. Texting, smiling at messages, angling the screen away when I walked by. She started going to the gym 5 times a week. Not because she wanted to be healthy, she'd never cared about the gym before. But because Jessica went, and suddenly it was their bonding time. And the sex between us changed. Not less frequent. Different. Like she was performing. Like she was thinking about someone else. I told myself I was being paranoid. That I was insecure. That I should trust my wife. But my gut knew something was wrong. 2 months after the hypothetical conversation, Sarah tried again. We were getting ready for bed when she sat down on the edge of the mattress and said, "I want to talk about opening our marriage." Not hypothetically this time. Directly. "No," I said. "You won't even discuss it?" "There's nothing to discuss. I married you because I wanted to be with you. Only you. If that's changed for you, then we have a different problem." She looked frustrated. "It's not about not wanting to be with you. It's about not limiting our experiences. We're in our 30s. This is the time to explore, to grow. To sleep with other people. To expand our understanding of what a relationship can be." "Sarah, I don't want an expanded understanding. I want my wife." She went quiet. Then, "Jessica says that's a very narrow way of thinking." "I don't care what Jessica says about my marriage. She's been married longer than us. She and Brad have figured out how to keep things exciting." "By sleeping with other people?" Sarah's face went carefully blank. "They have an arrangement that works for them." "Are they in an open marriage?" "Yes." The confirmation hit me harder than it should have. Because it meant Jessica wasn't theorizing. She was recruiting. "And Jessica thinks we should do the same?" "She thinks we should consider all options before we get stuck in a rut." "We're not in a rut." "Aren't we? When was the last time we did something spontaneous? Something exciting?" "Exciting doesn't require sleeping with other people." "You're being close-minded." "I'm being faithful. There's a difference." She stood up, angry now. "I'm not asking to leave you. I'm asking to expand what we have. And I'm saying no. What if I want this?" And there it was. The real question beneath everything else. "Then we have a serious problem," I said quietly. "Because I'm not going to agree to something that destroys what we built." She stared at me for a long moment. Then she grabbed her pillow and went to sleep in the guest room. After that fight, Sarah stopped bringing it up directly. But she also stopped being present. She was physically in the house, but emotionally gone. Conversations became transactional. Bills, schedules, logistics. No warmth. No connection. No us. She spent more time with Jessica. Multiple nights a week now, coming home late, smelling like perfume and wine. I tried to talk to her about it. Tried to reconnect. Suggested a weekend away, just the two of us. She said she was too busy with work. But her social media told a different story. Pictures with Jessica at bars, at restaurants, at clubs I didn't even know she went to. Both of them dressed up, both of them looking happy in a way she never looked at home anymore. I wasn't stupid. I knew what was happening. But I wanted to be wrong. The 2:47 a.m. text was brutal in its simplicity. "Jessica, did you tell him yet? Or are we still pretending?" I scrolled up through the conversation with hands that weren't quite steady. "Sarah, I can't tell him. He'll leave." "Jessica, so keep doing what you're doing. He doesn't need to know. Sarah, it feels wrong. Jessica, what feels wrong? Being happy. Finally getting what you deserve. Ryan's a good guy, but let's be honest. He's boring. You need more than comfortable. Sarah, he's my husband. Jessica, and Marcus is your boyfriend. You can have both. Brad and I do. Marcus. The name punched through my chest. I kept scrolling. Pictures. Not explicit, but intimate. Sarah with a guy I'd never seen before. His arm around her. Her laughing, pressed against him. The body language unmistakable. Sarah, what if Ryan finds out? Jessica, he won't. Men like Ryan don't look for what they don't want to find. And honestly, even if he did, you make more money than him now. You'd be fine in a divorce. Sarah, I don't want a divorce. Jessica, then don't get one. Just keep your fun separate from your marriage. It's what grown-ups do. I read that exchange 3 times. Men like Ryan. Boring. Comfortable. The kind who don't look too closely. And Jessica, coaching her through it. Making it seem reasonable. Moral, even. Just what grown-ups do. I didn't sleep. I sat in the living room until sunrise, staring at nothing, my mind moving through scenarios. Confront Sarah immediately. Demand explanations. Blow everything up in a moment of righteous anger. Or do something else. Something calculated. Something that would hurt both of them the way they'd hurt me. Sarah came downstairs at 7, already dressed for work. She looked surprised to see me on the couch. Did you sleep here? Couldn't sleep. Everything okay? I looked at her. My wife. The woman I'd trusted completely. Who was lying to my face while planning her next date with Marcus. Everything's fine, I said. Just work stress. She nodded, already checking her phone. Probably texting Jessica. Or Marcus. I'm having lunch with Jessica today, she said. I'll be home late. Have fun. She kissed the top of my head, automatic, meaningless, and left. I sat there for another 30 minutes. Then I started planning. I took the day off work. Told my boss I had a family emergency, which wasn't entirely a lie. First step, I needed to know everything. I went through Sarah's laptop. She'd left it at home, presumably thinking it was safe. Her email was logged in. She never logged out of anything on her personal devices. I found the booking confirmations first. Hotels. Always mid-range places, never anywhere we'd go together. Twice a week for the past 6 weeks. Always split payments between her card and someone else's. Marcus Chen, the other card holder. I did what anyone would do. I looked him up. LinkedIn profile showed he worked in sales for a pharmaceutical company. Good-looking guy, I guess. Younger than me by a few years. Divorced, according to his Facebook relationship status. And here's the thing that made my jaw clench. He knew about me. I found the text chain where Sarah had explained her situation. Married but exploring options. Husband who was comfortable but not exciting. Looking for something just for her. Marcus had responded, I'm cool with that. No pressure, just fun. Just fun. Like my marriage was an inconvenience to work around, not a boundary to respect. But Sarah was almost forgivable compared to Jessica. I went through every message between them, months of conversations. And what I found was systematic destruction dressed up as friendship. Jessica hadn't just encouraged Sarah to cheat. She'd provided the playbook. Jessica, Brad and I go to the Riverside Hotel. They don't ask questions and they're discreet. Here's the booking link. Jessica, tell Ryan you're working late. Or that we're having a girls' night. He trusts you, use that. Jessica, if he starts asking questions, get defensive. Make him feel guilty for not trusting you. It puts them on the back foot. Jessica, the key is compartmentalization. Your marriage is one box. Your fun is another box. Keep them separate and you can have everything. She'd introduced Sarah to Marcus at some party. Had specifically set them up. You two would be perfect together, she texted after. He's looking for something casual and so are you. And when Sarah expressed guilt, Jessica, guilt is just society's programming. You're not hurting Ryan. What he doesn't know doesn't hurt him. You're actually saving your marriage by getting your needs met elsewhere. That logic, that sociopathic, self-serving logic. Jessica had taken my wife, a woman who, 6 months ago, would never have cheated, and systematically broken down every moral boundary she had. I hired a private investigator. Not for Sarah, I had enough evidence there. For Jessica, I wanted to know everything about her. Her marriage, her finances, her life. Because if I was going to burn her world down, I needed to know where the gas was. The PI came back with a report 3 days later. Jessica and Brad's perfect open marriage was a lie. Brad didn't know. Jessica was having multiple affairs, at least 3 that the PI could confirm. All while playing the devoted wife at home. She'd been doing it for years, apparently. And she was good at it. She had burner phones. Separate bank accounts Brad didn't know about. A web of lies so complex it probably required a spreadsheet to maintain. But here's what was interesting. Brad was traditional. Conservative family, religious background. If he found out Jessica was cheating, it wouldn't just end the marriage. It would destroy her entire social circle. And financially? Jessica didn't work. Every dollar she spent, every luxury she enjoyed, came from Brad's income. A divorce would decimate her lifestyle. She was playing a dangerous game. And she'd recruited my wife as a player. I could have confronted Sarah immediately. Part of me wanted to. But I was realizing something. Confrontation would give her the opportunity to lie. To minimize. To make me seem controlling or paranoid or unreasonable. Jessica had already given her the script. If he questions you, make him the problem. So instead I did something else. I started documenting everything. Screenshots, emails, credit card statements, hotel bookings. I built a file that was indisputable. And I waited. I met with a divorce attorney. Just to understand my options. She was efficient, direct, and honest in a way that was almost refreshing. You have enough for an at-fault divorce in this state, she said after reviewing my evidence. Adultery is still grounds, and your documentation is thorough. What does that mean practically? It means you have leverage. Asset division, spousal support, everything shifts when you can prove infidelity. Especially sustained, premeditated infidelity. And if I wanted to make this as difficult as possible for her? The lawyer raised an eyebrow. I advise against revenge as a legal strategy. I'm not asking you to help me get revenge. I'm asking what my options are to protect myself. She walked me through it. The paperwork. The process. The timeline. If you're going to do this, she said, do it smart. Don't tip your hand until you're ready to file. The element of surprise is your friend. What about the friend who encouraged it? Jessica. No legal standing there unless she somehow financially benefited from the affair. Morally reprehensible isn't legally actionable. So I can't touch her legally. Not through divorce proceedings, no. What about her husband? If someone were to inform him? The lawyer's expression didn't change. Information sharing between wronged parties isn't illegal. Though I'd recommend you focus on your own divorce, not someone else's marriage. But she'd answered my question. I had 2 targets, Sarah and Jessica. Sarah would face legal and financial consequences. The divorce would be painful, expensive, and public enough that her professional reputation would take a hit. But Jessica? Jessica needed something more surgical. She'd orchestrated this whole thing from a position of safety. She'd destroyed my marriage while keeping her own perfect life intact. She'd turned my wife into a liar and a cheat, all while playing the role of supportive best friend. She needed to lose what she valued most, her perfect life, her financial security, her social status. And I knew exactly how to make that happen. I just needed the right moment. I gave it 2 more weeks. 2 weeks of pretending everything was normal. Of kissing Sarah goodbye. Of asking about her day. Of acting like the comfortable, boring husband she'd complained about to Jessica. During those 2 weeks, I prepared everything. Divorce papers, ready to file. Evidence files, organized and backed up in multiple locations. A new apartment, already leased in my name only. Financial accounts separated quietly. I'd moved my direct deposit to a new bank, redirected my investments, made sure she couldn't drain anything joint the moment this went public. And most importantly, I'd made contact with Brad. Not directly. Through a mutual acquaintance who knew him professionally. A casual coffee meeting about a project management opportunity at his firm. Brad turned out to be exactly what I expected. Type A personality, corporate climber, everything polished and proper. The kind of guy who probably had his life planned out in 5-year increments. He talked about Jessica with obvious pride. My wife is incredible. She manages our entire social calendar, our house, everything. I couldn't do what I do without her support. His entire life was built on the foundation of Jessica's loyalty. I felt almost bad for him. Almost. Sarah told me she was going out with Jessica on Friday night. Just dinner and drinks. I'll be home by midnight. Have fun, I said. She didn't come home by midnight. According to the tracking app I'd installed on her phone, yes, I'd become that guy. She went to dinner with Jessica. Then to a bar. Then to the Riverside Hotel. Marcus met them there. Jessica left after an hour. The good friend, providing cover and then disappearing. Sarah and Marcus stayed. I didn't sleep. I sat in the dark living room, divorce papers on the coffee table in front of me, and I waited. She came home at 3:15 a.m. Tried to be quiet. Went straight to the shower. When she came to bed, she pressed against my back and whispered, "Sorry I'm late. Lost track of time." I didn't respond. Pretended to be asleep. I woke up early. Made coffee. Set out 2 cups at the kitchen table. When Sarah came downstairs, she looked surprised. "You're up early. We need to talk." Her face did something complicated. "About what?" I slid the folder across the table. "About Marcus." The color drained from her face so fast I thought she might pass out. "Ryan. Don't. Just don't. I know everything. The affair. The hotels. The lies. All of it." She opened her mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. "How long have you known? Does it matter?" "I can explain." "No, you can't. There's no explanation that makes this okay. You cheated on me. For months. While lying to my face and sleeping in our bed." Tears started streaming down her face. "It's not what you think." "It's exactly what I think. You had an affair. Jessica encouraged it. You both thought I was too stupid or too comfortable to notice. Jessica didn't. Jessica orchestrated the entire thing. I've read the messages, Sarah. All of them. She introduced you to Marcus. She taught you how to lie. She told you I was boring and you deserved better." Sarah's face crumpled. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I made a mistake." "A mistake is forgetting my birthday. This was a choice. Dozens of choices. Every lie, every hotel room, every time you came home smelling like him. Those were choices. Please. Ryan, please. I love you. I want to fix this." I slid the divorce papers across the table. She stared at them like they were written in a foreign language. "I don't want to fix this," I said quietly. "I want a divorce. And because you committed adultery, which I can prove, you're not going to make out well financially." "You're divorcing me? What did you think would happen? That I'd just accept this?" "I thought we could talk. Go to counseling. Work through it." "There's nothing to work through. You destroyed our marriage. Now you get to live with the consequences." She was full on sobbing now. "Please don't do this. I'll end it with Marcus. I'll cut off Jessica. I'll do anything." "You should have done that before you cheated. Sign the papers, Sarah. Make this easy." And if I don't? Then I file them anyway and we do this in court. Where everything becomes public record. Where your parents and your co-workers and everyone you know gets to hear about Marcus and the Riverside Hotel. She flinched. Sign the papers, I repeated. Take the settlement I'm offering. It's more than fair given what you did. I need time. You have until Monday. After that, I file and you get whatever the court decides. I stood up and walked to the door. Where are you going? To my new apartment. My lawyer will be in touch. Ryan, please. I left. And for the first time in months, I could breathe. I texted Brad on Monday. Hey, enjoyed our coffee last week. Would love to grab another if you're free. Found some information about a mutual acquaintance that I think you should know about. He responded within an hour. This week is crazy, but how about Saturday morning? Perfect. Same place. See you there. I had 5 days to decide how much to tell him. Part of me felt guilty. Brad hadn't done anything wrong. He was collateral damage in Jessica's games. But then I thought about how Jessica had systematically destroyed my marriage. How she'd taken Sarah, someone who would never have cheated on her own, and turned her into a liar. How she'd done it all while maintaining her perfect life, zero consequences. Brad deserved to know what he was married to. And Jessica deserved to lose everything she'd taken for granted. Brad showed up in workout clothes, fresh from the gym. Ordered black coffee. Checked his phone twice before we even sat down. So, what's this information about a mutual acquaintance? I pulled out my tablet. It's about Jessica. His face went carefully neutral. What about her? She's been having affairs. Multiple affairs. For years. He stared at me. That's a serious accusation. It's not an accusation. It's a fact. With evidence. I showed him the messages between Jessica and Sarah. The conversations where she bragged about her arrangements. The pictures with other men. The burner phone records my PI had uncovered. Brad's face went from neutral to white to red. Why are you showing me this? Because Jessica encouraged my wife to have an affair. Coached her through it. Made it seem acceptable. And I think you deserve to know who you're married to. Your wife cheated and you're blaming Jessica? My wife made her own choices. But Jessica was the architect. She introduced Sarah to her affair partner. She provided the location. She gave her the lies to tell me. I showed him more messages. Jessica's words, her strategies, her complete lack of remorse. Brad's hands were shaking. I need copies of this. I thought you might. I airdropped him everything. Months of evidence. Indisputable proof. Why? He asked. Why are you doing this? Because she destroyed my marriage and got to walk away clean. That's not acceptable. He nodded slowly. I need to go. Brad. I need to go. Thank you. He left without finishing his coffee. I sat there for a while, looking at the empty chair across from me. I'd just dropped a nuclear bomb on Jessica's life. And I didn't feel guilty at all. Sarah called me 17 times that day. I didn't answer. She showed up at my apartment. I didn't open the door. She sent texts. Please talk to me. We can fix this. I'll do anything. I ended it with Marcus. I blocked his number. I'm done with Jessica. Please give me another chance. You're really going to throw away 8 years? That last one made me laugh. A bitter, hollow sound. I typed back, you threw away 8 years when you slept with Marcus. I'm just acknowledging what you already destroyed. She didn't text again. The divorce proceeded. She tried to fight it at first, but her lawyer apparently explained that fighting an at-fault divorce with my level of evidence was financial suicide. She signed. Asset division was brutal for her. The house went to me. I'd made the down payment with inheritance money from my grandfather, which meant it wasn't fully marital property. She got her car, her personal accounts, and about 30% of our joint savings. No spousal support. The judge wasn't sympathetic to cheaters. She moved in with her parents. Posted vague social media updates about new chapters and finding herself. Her friends mostly ghosted her once word got out about the affair. Turns out people don't like cheaters, even in divorce. She tried to keep her job, but the gossip mill is vicious in corporate environments. She quit 6 months later and moved to a different city. I didn't feel satisfied by her suffering. Just empty. Jessica's destruction was slower. More complete. Brad didn't confront her immediately. He did what I'd done. He documented everything. He hired his own PI. He built an ironclad case. Then he went nuclear. He didn't just file for divorce. He made sure everyone knew why. Jessica's social circle, the country club crowd, the charity luncheon set, was conservative and traditional. The kind of people who smiled politely while gossiping viciously behind closed doors. Brad told everyone. Every couple they socialized with. Every committee Jessica was on. He didn't lie or embellish. He just told the truth about who she was and what she'd done. Jessica went from social queen to pariah in about 3 weeks. The country club membership? Brad's name. Revoked her access. The luxury car? His company lease. Returned it. The credit cards? Cancelled. The house? Marital property, but he had leverage. She either took a minimal settlement, or he dragged everything through court where her affairs would become public record. She took the settlement. I heard through the grapevine that she moved to an apartment across town. Got a job in retail. Lost contact with most of her friends. Sarah tried to reach out to her. Jessica blocked her. Turns out when you're not useful anymore, friendship means nothing. 4 months after everything exploded, I got a text from an unknown number. "This is Jessica. Can we talk?" I stared at it for a solid minute. Then, "No. Please. I need to explain." "There's nothing to explain. You destroyed my marriage. You lost yours. We're done." "I'm sorry. I know that doesn't mean anything, but I'm sorry. I was in a bad place. I made terrible choices." "You made choices that hurt other people to serve yourself. That's not a bad place. That's who you are." "Ryan, please. I lost everything." "Good." I blocked the number. Sarah texted me that night. Jessica called me crying. She wanted me to ask you to talk to her. "Why are you texting me?" "Because she's my friend." "She's not your friend. She never was. She used you to feel better about her own cheating. And when you weren't useful anymore, she cut you off." A long pause. Then, "I know." "So why do you care if she's crying?" "Because I'm lonely and miserable, and she's the only person who understands what I'm going through." "You're going through consequences, not trauma. There's a difference." "Was it worth it? Destroying everything?" I thought about that. About whether the revenge had been worth the cost. "You destroyed everything. I just made sure you didn't walk away clean." I blocked her number too. I sold the house. Too many memories. Too many rooms that still smelled like her perfume or echoed with arguments that would never resolve. I bought a condo downtown. Smaller, modern, mine. Work became my focus. I threw myself into projects, took on extra responsibilities, worked late not because I had to but because going home to an empty apartment felt hollow. I dated a little. Nothing serious. Women who didn't know my history, who didn't ask too many questions about why I was divorced. It was fine. Not good. Not bad. Just fine. My sister convinced me to see a therapist. "You're not dealing with this," she said over dinner. "You're just existing." "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You're a robot. You go to work, you go home, you repeat. That's not healing. That's avoiding." So I went to therapy. The therapist, Dr. Martinez, was in her 50s, sharp-eyed, not easily impressed. "Tell me about the revenge," she said in our 3rd session. "What about it? Did it feel good?" "At the time? Yes." "And now?" "I thought about it. Now it just feels empty." "Why?" "Because it didn't fix anything. Sarah is still gone. My marriage is still destroyed. I hurt Jessica and it didn't make me whole. Did you expect it to? I don't know. Maybe. I thought if they suffered the way I suffered, I'd feel better. And you don't. I feel nothing. Which is maybe worse. Dr. Martinez nodded. Revenge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It might hurt them, but it doesn't heal you. So I shouldn't have done it? I didn't say that. I'm saying you're learning what most people learn too late. Justice and healing aren't the same thing. I ran into Sarah at a coffee shop 8 months after the divorce finalized. She looked different. Thinner. Tired. Hair shorter. None of the polish she used to maintain. She saw me before I could leave. Ryan. Sarah. Awkward silence. Can we talk? She asked. I don't think that's a good idea. 5 minutes. Please. Against my better judgment, I sat down. She wrapped her hands around her cup like she was trying to absorb its warmth. I'm in therapy. Good. My therapist says I need to make amends. To take responsibility without expecting forgiveness. Okay. So I'm telling you, I'm sorry. For the affair. For the lies. For letting Jessica convince me that I deserved more than what we had. I destroyed something good because I was selfish and stupid. I didn't say anything. I don't expect you to forgive me, she continued. I wouldn't forgive me. But I wanted you to know that I understand what I did. And I regret it every single day. Do you regret the affair? Or do you regret getting caught? She flinched. Both. At first it was just getting caught. But now? I regret all of it. Because I lost you. And I realized too late that you were the best thing in my life. I'm not interested in reconciliation. I'm not asking for that. I'm just saying what I need to say. We sat there in uncomfortable silence. How are you? She asked finally. I'm okay. Are you happy? I'm working on it. She nodded. I heard you sold the house. Yeah. Good. Too many memories there. Yeah. More silence. Jessica tried to reach out to me last month, she said. I didn't respond. Smart. She lost everything. Brad took her apart in the divorce. She's barely surviving. Good. Sarah looked at me. You did that. You destroyed her life. She destroyed mine first. Does that make it okay? I don't know. Probably not. But I don't regret it. She nodded slowly. I think I understand that. The need to make someone hurt the way they hurt you. Do you? Yeah. Because there were nights after you left where I wanted to destroy Jessica too. For convincing me that what I was doing was okay. For making it seem normal. But you didn't. No. Because I realized she didn't make me do anything. She just gave me permission to do what I already wanted. That honesty surprised me. That's growth, I guess, I said. Too little, too late. She stood up. I should go. Thank you for talking to me. Sarah. She turned back. I hope you figure out who you are. Without Jessica. Without me. Without anyone telling you what you should want. Her eyes welled up. Thank you. That's kinder than I deserve. She left. I sat there for another hour, staring at my coffee, thinking about forgiveness and whether it was something I owed her or something I owed myself. 10 months post-divorce, I got an email from Brad. Subject: Thank you. Ryan. I know we didn't part on the best terms after our last coffee. I was angry. At you for bringing me the information, at Jessica for everything, at myself for not seeing it. But I need to thank you. You could have said nothing. You could have let me stay married to someone who was making a fool of me. Instead, you gave me the truth, even though it was uncomfortable. The divorce is finalized. I'm rebuilding my life. It's been hard, but I'm realizing that living with the truth is better than living with a lie. I don't know if you're in the same place, if exposing Jessica brought you peace or just more pain. But I wanted you to know that for me, it was the right thing. If you ever want to grab a drink and commiserate about our disaster marriages, let me know. Brad. I wrote back. Brad. I'm glad you're rebuilding. You deserve to know the truth about who you were married to. I don't know if what I did was right. Some days it feels like justice. Some days it feels like I just spread my pain around to make myself feel better. But I don't regret it. And I hope you don't either. Good luck with everything. Ryan. We never grabbed that drink. But knowing he was okay, that he'd landed on his feet, helped somehow. 1 year after the 2:47 a.m. text, I was in a different place. Literally, new condo, new routines, new life. But also emotionally. The anger had faded into something else. Not forgiveness exactly, but acceptance. My therapist had helped me understand something. Holding on to anger was just letting Sarah and Jessica continue to control my life. They'd already taken my marriage, my trust, my ability to feel safe with another person. I didn't need to give them my future too. I started dating more seriously. Met a woman named Claire through a friend. She was divorced too. Her ex had been emotionally abusive. We understood each other's caution. We took it slow. No rushing. No expectations. Just two broken people trying to figure out if they could be whole together. It was tentative and scary, and sometimes painful when old wounds surfaced. But it was real. 14 months after everything imploded, I ran into Jessica. Not at a coffee shop or a bar. At a grocery store, both of us reaching for the same box of cereal in the discount aisle. She looked destroyed. Not just physically, though she'd aged years and months, but in her eyes. That confidence, that superiority she'd always radiated, was gone. Ryan, she said quietly. Jessica. We stood there in the cereal aisle, two people who'd destroyed each other's lives. I won't bother you, she said. I need you to know that I'm sorry. For all of it. Okay. I was a terrible person. I hurt you. I hurt Sarah. I hurt Brad. I hurt everyone because I was so focused on what I wanted that I couldn't see the damage I was causing. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to hear it. Because my therapist says I need to take accountability. Because I can't move forward without acknowledging what I did. I looked at her. Really looked at her. The designer clothes were gone. The perfect makeup was gone. She looked like a normal person struggling through a normal life. I forgive you, I said. She blinked. What? I forgive you. Not because you deserve it. Not because it makes what you did okay. But because I'm tired of carrying the weight of hating you. Tears started streaming down her face. That doesn't mean I want you in my life, I continued. It doesn't mean we're friends. It just means I'm letting go of the anger. Thank you, she whispered. That's more than I. Jessica, you need to understand something. You didn't just make mistakes. You systematically destroyed people's lives because it made you feel powerful. You took Sarah, someone who trusted you, and turned her into someone she's ashamed of. I know. I don't think you do. I think you know you got caught. I think you know you lost everything. But I don't think you actually understand the depth of damage you caused. She was full-on sobbing now. Other shoppers were staring. I hope you figure it out, I said. I hope you become someone different. But I can't be part of that journey. I left her there in the cereal aisle. And for the first time in over a year, I felt light. 6 months later, I was having dinner with Claire when she asked me about the divorce. We'd been dating for 5 months. It was getting serious. She deserved to know the full story. I told her everything. The affair. Jessica's role. The revenge. All of it. She listened without judgment. Do you regret it? She asked when I finished. The revenge? That's complicated. How so? I don't regret exposing the truth. Brad deserved to know. Sarah deserved consequences. Jessica deserved to lose the perfect life she'd built on lies. But I think I did it for the wrong reasons. I wasn't seeking justice. I was seeking pain. I wanted them to hurt the way I hurt. Did it work? They hurt. But it didn't heal me. It just gave me a different kind of pain to carry. Claire took my hand. So what did heal you? Letting go. Forgiving, not them, but myself. For trusting Sarah. For not seeing the signs. For believing my marriage was safe. That's not your fault. I know. But I blamed myself anyway. And I had to forgive myself for that before I could move forward. She squeezed my hand. I'm glad you moved forward. Me too. I married Claire 18 months after our first date. Small wedding. Close friends and family only. No drama. No performance. Just two people who'd been broken choosing to build something together. My sister was there. My parents. A few colleagues from work. Sarah wasn't invited. Jessica definitely wasn't. Brad was though. We'd become friendly over the past year. Not close friends, but two guys who understood each other's scars. He brought his girlfriend, a kind woman who worked in education and seemed to genuinely adore him. At the reception, he pulled me aside. You did good, man. She seems great. Thanks. Yours too. Weird how we both ended up here, right? From disaster marriages to this. Not that weird. We both learned what we didn't want. He nodded. Do you ever think about them? Sarah and Jessica. Sometimes. Less than I used to. I heard Jessica moved out of state. Started over somewhere new. Good for her. Is it? Good for her. I thought about that. Yeah, I think it is. She needed to lose everything to understand what she'd done. Maybe now she can become someone different. You're more generous than me. I hope she's miserable forever. I laughed. I used to feel that way. But carrying that hate around was exhausting. So you forgive her? I released her. There's a difference. Forgiveness is for people who acknowledge what they did and work to change. Release is just letting go so their actions don't control your life anymore. Brad considered that. That's wise. Nah. That's therapy. Lots and lots of therapy. We both laughed. Here's what I learned from all of it. Revenge feels good in the moment. Exposing liars, watching them face consequences, seeing them lose what they took for granted, it's satisfying. But it doesn't heal you. It doesn't restore what was broken. It doesn't make you whole. What heals you is the hard work of rebuilding, of learning to trust again, of forgiving yourself for trusting the wrong people, of understanding that betrayal says more about the betrayer than it does about you. Sarah made her choices. Jessica enabled them. I made mine in response. Were my choices right? I don't know. Probably not entirely. But they were mine. And I owned the consequences. The revenge didn't save me. But it did teach me something important. Justice and healing are separate journeys. You can have one without the other. And if you're not careful, seeking justice can delay healing indefinitely. I chose to stop seeking justice and start seeking peace. It took 2 years, a good therapist, and a woman who understood brokenness to get there. But I got there. I saw Sarah one more time. Not at a coffee shop or a grocery store. At a bookstore. She was with someone. A man I didn't recognize. They were holding hands, looking at travel books, laughing about something. She looked happy. Genuinely happy. I felt nothing. Not anger. Not satisfaction. Just nothing. She didn't see me. I left before she could. That night, Claire asked me about my day. Saw Sarah, I said. She looked good. Happy. How do you feel about that? Fine. Genuinely fine. That's growth. That's closure. She kissed my forehead. I'm proud of you. And I realized something. I was proud of me too. Not for the revenge. Not for exposing Jessica or making them pay. But for surviving. For rebuilding. For learning to trust again despite every reason not to. For becoming someone who could see his ex-wife happy and feel nothing but mild indifference. That was the real victory. Not the destruction I'd caused. But the life I'd built from the ashes. Revenge might give you justice, but it won't give you peace. Justice is about making them pay. Peace is about letting them go. You can expose the truth and still lose yourself in the anger. You can destroy their lives and still feel empty. You can win every battle and still lose the war for your own happiness. The people who betrayed you already took enough. Don't let them take your future too. Healing isn't about making them suffer. It's about refusing to suffer anymore. And sometimes the greatest revenge isn't destroying them. It's building a life so full of joy that they become irrelevant to your story. That's the revenge they can never take away from you.